Welcome back to DeFi Tactics. Remember, this is not financial advice. Do not make any financial decisions based on my word alone. Always do your own research. With that said, today we're going to discuss version 2 of Flare Finance, or experimental finance, which is the Flare Finance platform on the Songbird Network. We're going to do a brief overview, show you where all the buttons are, what the different platforms and modules that launched, and we're going to get into some demos and examples. So let's get to it. All right, so here we are on the Flare Loans platform. The website is xfl.flr.finance. I had to do some switching around with some funds in order to be able to mint and show how to mint Canary dollars. So with this said, the Flare Loans platform still requires you to mint at least 1,800 Canary dollars. This means you need to put up a little bit more Songbird as collateral. When you're putting up collateralized loans, you need to put up, at least for this platform, 110% of the amount that you are minting. So if we're minting 1,800 Canary dollars, you need to put up at least $1,980 US worth of Songbird or wrapped Songbird in order to mint that. However, we don't want to just put up that 110%, because we would then be at risk of liquidation. If the price of Songbird or our collateral drops any, we will fall below that 110%, meaning someone can come in and liquidate us. Before I get into this, I do want to highlight that it says at the top you are using an experimental product suite on a Songbird Canary network. Please be aware of the inherent risks involved. This is essentially a test bed for the Flare networks. So any bugs that pop up are going to want to be popped up in this launch, so that way when the main product launches on Flare network, those bugs are resolved. So just going over a brief overview, we're on the Flare Loans platform. So on the left-hand side, we've got the navigation pane for the Flare Loans platform. The Your Nest tab shows any nests or any collateral debt positions that you take out. So clicking on the stability pool, we can see that we can stake Canary dollars in order to earn liquidation profits in the form of Songbird and DFLR rewards. Earlier this morning at 1 in the morning for me, I put a couple dollars in here to play around with before this video. So these are the profits that you can see and the rewards you can see from that test Songbird I played with. Next, we have the DFLR staking. So once you accumulate some DFLR, you can go ahead and stake or deposit the DFLR in this pool, and you can earn Canary dollar and Songbird. Redemptions tab, we're not worried about Redemptions tab. I'm not going to play with Redemptions tab. I'm not even going to try and explain what it is because there's not too much documentation about it. Lastly, we've got the Liquidations tab. When this loads up, it shows all of the collateral debt positions that have been taken out. We have the opportunity to liquidate somebody if they fall below that 110%. However, you need the amount of Canary dollars to cover that bad debt, and then you receive that collateral Songbird in exchange. So there's a couple of percentage points we can earn doing liquidations. However, again, I'm not going to play around with this too much. Going up on the left-hand side, we click the Flare Loans. Let's go and switch to the FlareX, which is the decentralized exchange. This is where we can swap from Songbird to Canary dollar, and we can provide liquidity into the liquidity pools, which we will then receive FlareX token or FlareX liquidity pool token. At that point, we can then stake that in the farm or the Flare farm to earn DFLR rewards. So in the FlareX, you can see we've got the little candle chart right here, candlestick chart. On the right-hand side, this is where you can actually go ahead and enter an amount to try and swap. It'll auto-populate. If instead of selling Songbird into Canary dollars, we can switch this little toggle button right here, and it'll go reverse Canary dollar to Songbird. We can also use this little slider to go up to our max amount and vice versa. Then at the bottom, we can see that we have the history, and then we can see we've got the Your History tab right here, which identifies your specific trades. Scrolling back up to the top, let's go ahead and check out the Liquidity tab. This is where we can provide liquidity. So we would provide an equal amount, 50-50, of Songbird and Canary dollar to get a FlareX token. Remember, when we're providing liquidity, there is the potential for impermanent loss. If the price fluctuates wildly and we exit the liquidity pool at a different price point than when we entered, we would suffer from some impermanent loss. However, that's where the fee structure and the Flare farms kicks in. So even though there's the risk of the impermanent loss, we are earning fees from every trade that happens on the FlareX platform and the FlareX DEX. So each trade, there's a portion of those fees that go back to the overall pool, which are then distributed to those who provide liquidity. So we're earning fees from the liquidity. Next, I want to go back to the top and we can see the Flare Farm tab right here from this dropdown. Let's go ahead and click that. It will load up. This one seems to take a little bit longer. However, it loaded up pretty quickly. As you can see, this is where we can stake our liquidity pool token, also known as FlareX, in order to earn DFLR. Now, as you can see, just a brief overview, we've got the pool supply. So this is how much DFLR there is remaining in the pool. We can see the total staked. So there is 5.425 million Songbird Canary Dollar liquidity pool tokens, also known as FlareX. There's 5.4 million liquidity pool tokens staked in this farm. Lastly, we have the reward rate, and this shows the per day distribution of DFLR to all of the pool participants. So this 4,814 DFLR is getting distributed per day to the 5.4 million participants. So the more liquidity pool tokens you hold, the larger of a percentage of that 4,814 DFLR you will receive each day. At the bottom here, we can see the U staked and unclaimed. I already played around with this, so I did have a little bit of DFLR in there that I claimed. However, once you have a liquidity pool token, you would go ahead and click the Start Staking button. And then when you want to claim any rewards from the DFLR, you can click this Claim button, which again can go back to that DFlare staking pool on the Flare Loans platform. So let's get into the nitty gritty and actually go through some of this. If you're getting anything out of this video, I'd appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button and left me a comment in the comment section below. Also, I'd like to highlight the join button next to the subscribe button for some additional perks. And I'd also like to highlight the Patreon I started, where we can get additional perks and some of these documents that I've put up in previous videos. The link for the Patreon is in the description down below. So remember, we need to mint at least 1,800 Canary dollars. So we go ahead and we click the Mint Canary Dollar button right there. We can see that this is the amount that we want to mint. This is the collateral that we will put up. We've got a little slider bar that goes from riskier to safer, meaning this will be a slider that will allow you to increase or decrease your collateral, as in put up more of a percentage over that 110%. Again, down here we've got the liquidation reserve of $100, and we have a borrow fee which will be paid, which I think is about just over 1% of the loan. So let's go ahead and let's try and borrow 100. Well, if you see, it says debt must be greater than 1,800, meaning we need to mint or borrow more than 1,800 Canary dollars in order to mint any Canary dollar. Just to highlight this quick slider right here, you can see that as I slide it up and down, the collateral is increasing and decreasing. Remember, the more collateral we have for the same amount of Canary dollars we're minting, the less risk of liquidation we have due to price decreases of the underlying collateral, or in this case, Songbird. I do want to highlight, however, that we can use wrapped Songbird. So if we click the Songbird button icon right here, we can switch to wrapped Songbird. Switching to wrapped Songbird means we can still accumulate the FTSO rewards while minting and utilizing this Canary dollar. So we're still earning FTSO rewards, and we can utilize that Canary dollar in order to earn in other ways. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch to wrapped Songbird. So we're going to mint the minimum amount of Canary dollar using our wrapped Songbird as collateral. So we'll do 1,800 Canary dollar. If we go down here, we can see that if I want to be risky as heck at 110%, I would only need just under 5,000 wrapped Songbird as collateral. However, if the price were to decrease at all, I would probably get liquidated. So we want to increase that collateral amount. Seeing as I have 8,130 wrapped Songbird, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to utilize all of that. So I'm going to do 8,130. This will give me a 182% collateralization ratio, meaning that if the price drops, I'll be able to handle the price drop better without getting liquidated. So I want to highlight this calculator that I came up in this Excel spreadsheet to help figure out and manage my debt position. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mint with my wrapped Songbird as collateral 1,800 Canary dollars. Now, as you can see, I got to change this to my actual collateral that I want to put. Brings me up to 180%. We can see that there's a borrow fee of $18. So my total debt will be $1,918. So we're going to go ahead, and the first time you do this, you have to approve the borrower operations. So we're going to click that, and we're going to confirm in MetaMask or Bifrost if you're using Bifrost. It's pending, it's approving, bang. Now this will change to mint at the bottom down here. So we can go ahead and we can mint. We're going to go ahead and we're going to approve the transaction. I'm not really going to mess with this estimated gas fee, even though it's asking for almost half a Songbird. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click confirm to make sure that this transaction gets through successfully. And as you can see now, we have a successful transaction. As you can see, this popped up in the Your Nest section. It says that your debt is 1,918 Canary dollars. I've got a collateral value of $3,235 with a ratio of with a collateralization ratio of 168%. The reason that it took out 1,918 Canary dollar is because of that 100 Canary dollar reserve. We can click here to manage the collateral to add more collateral to it, or we can manage the debt by paying back or repaying some of this debt. Closing out of that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to just refresh this page. Now at the top here, if I click that, we can see that the Canary dollar is listed at 1,829. As you can see on the bottom, it actually shows us our liquidation price. So we have a liquidation price of 25.95 cents, with the current wrapped Songbird price sitting at 39.79 cents. So now that we've done that, let's provide some liquidity and then stake that into the farm. Then whatever remainder we have, Canary dollar, we can stake that in the stability pool. But first things first, let's jump over to FlareX. So jumping over to FlareX, we can see that we hit the main page. Let's go up to the liquidity. So we've gotten to the liquidity page on the FlareX platform, and we want to provide some liquidity. Remember, entering liquidity pools, we have to worry about impermanent loss. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and click the Provide Liquidity button. We've got the Provide section right here, and if I click the Remove section, it would bring us to the Remove section if we wanted to remove liquidity. However, we're providing, so we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and let's add 500 Songbird. The UI is a little wonky on this, so if we go over here and minimize it, we can actually get the proper look. So 500 Songbird tokens, we would be providing 157.7 Canary dollars. So going back to this main section, we are going to go ahead and we are going to provide that liquidity. I click Provide Liquidity. It's going to ask to confirm. I'm going to confirm. The transaction will be pending, and we're going to be waiting for approval. And we got a successful transaction. Now you can see that in the pool section, or my pool section, all pools, there's only one pool. So as you can see, it now has my liquidity pool tokens listed under the Your Tokens section. Looks like I have 278 tokens. Now if I wanted to remove that from the liquidity pool, I would go ahead and I would click Change Stake. I can go to Remove, and I can then use the slider button to remove as much as I want. All the way up to 100 removes 100%. Closing out of this, We have now successfully provided liquidity to the FlareX platform. But that's not all. We don't want to just earn liquidity pool fees, we want to farm some DFlare. So let's go back up to the top and let's click on the Flare Farm tab. As you can see, we've pulled up the Flare Farm. And now we can start staking those liquidity pool tokens, also known as FlareX, into the farm. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start staking. Let's go ahead and stake all of them, sliding that slider up to 100%, and we're going to click stake. It's going to ask to confirm. We are going to confirm, and then it's going to go through and process the transaction. And we are approved. After being approved, you can see that the you staked portion of this little box here, of this little interface here, shows the 278 liquidity pool tokens that I've staked. Then under here, we've got the unclaimed section. This is where the unclaimed DFLR will accumulate. Once we get enough DFLR, we can go ahead and we can click the claim button, and then we'll claim that DFLR. Now, if we want to change the stake, or say we want to remove the stake because we want to remove the stake from Flare Farm to remove from the liquidity pool, we click that unstake button or change stake, and then we click unstake, and then we can just slide this little slider wherever we want. If we want to completely exit, we could go there. If we want to lower it, we go there. The world is our oyster. So now we have some extra stuff going on though. We minted all that Canary dollar. So what can we do with it? We can go back to the Flare loans, and if we click the little wallet icon up there, we can see that we have 1,671 Canary dollars available. So we can go to the stability pool, and then we can deposit that Canary dollar. So let's go ahead and let's deposit some Canary dollar. Let's deposit, we'll start off with 500 Canary dollar. We'll ask to confirm, we'll go ahead and confirm. And as you can see, we got a successful transaction. We've staked 500 Canary dollars with a pool share of 0.015%, and we'll begin accumulating DFLR and liquidation profit rewards. So now let's just go back to the Flare Farm, and we're going to look at our stake and our unclaimed. As you can see, since I've done it, we have earned 0.0015 DFLR. This is how we can start earning multiple revenue streams with our Songbird and Flare tokens. I can't stress enough there may be a loss of funds when utilizing this, as this is the testing bed, or there might be bugs where you're unable to claim, or a plethora of different scenarios that could play out. So that about wraps it up for this video. Again, I just wanted to go over a brief overview of the Flare Finance platform, the 3 different modules, and actually show how we can participate in it. In the future, I'm going to be releasing daily or every other day updates on this portfolio. I'm going to go ahead and play around with it, and then starting either tomorrow or the following day, we'll actually see daily updates on how this portfolio is performing. As always, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. We'll catch you next time on DeFi Tactics. I'm going to try and do this in one take, so what is it? 1980. So much for the one take. So going up on the left-hand side, we go up. So instead, you want to do. Sometimes this really takes a long time. And then we've got a lot of downtime when I'm trying to record.